Mr. Deputy Speaker.
The House is resumed. The House is resumed for the extended sitting, and we call on Government Order of the Day number 1.
Ngati Whatua or Kaipara Claim Settlement Bill, second reading in committee stage.
Honourable Peter Sharples.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the Ngati Whatua or Kaipara Claim Settlement Bill be now read a second time. He mihi tēnei kia koutou o Ngati Whatua ko tai mai I tēnei ata nau mai haramaira. Karano kia timata, nā reira tēnā koutou ka piri mai. Ngā mate ko pākia koutou waiho rātou ko mihia I rongi ngā marae maho tumutu. Ko te mea nui tēnei wā ko koutou ko tai a tinana mai I tēnei hui nui mō tātou. Nā reira kai te rangatira tēnā koe koutou ngā kuia rangatira tēnā koutou whakapiri mai. Mr. Speaker, I move that this Ngati Whatua Kaipara Claims Settlement Bill be now read a second time. And I begin with a quote. You don't run a treaty settlement on your own. Mr. Speaker, I quote a very humble descendant of Ngati Whatua or Kaipara. This was her response when the media congratulated her after she was honoured by the Governor-General for her work in negotiating the settlement of her people's Treaty of Waitangi claims. She told the reporter that the more she delved into the injustices of her people's past, the more she realised she wasn't venturing into new territories. She was merely following the well-trodden footsteps of those who had gone before her. Generations of Ngati Whatua or Kaipara who spent entire lifetimes fighting for justice. Her own family members who had never lived to see this day. As only Treaty of Waitangi claimants can understand, she said, standing there, receiving her award at Government House was an incredibly lonely act. There were so many other people who could equally share in that award. So many other people she would have dearly loved to have been there to accept that award. And I quote, you don't run a treaty settlement on your own. Nā reira tēnā koe Margaret Kāwharu, mau nei kupu. Tangitunu mātou I tō pāpā. So, Mr. Speaker, in the spirit of these humble words, I would like to pay tribute to those who have gone before, those sons and daughters of Haranui, Rewiti, Kakanui, Araparera, and Pūtahi Marae. So many are not here in the House today, but if not for them, we would not be here considering a bill to resolve an injustice that began 169 years ago. Nā reira koutou moi mai rā e ngā rangatira. I te mōhio kua mautonu koutou ia mātou ngākau I tēnei rangi. Nā reira oki pai mai. Mr. Speaker, 90% of the ancestral lands of Ngati Whatua or Kaipara gone within a single generation. Could we imagine what it would be like to have 90% of our homes taken from us, from our children and grandchildren? 90% taken by law. And the 10% of the lands left for Ngati Whatua or Kaipara, for their families, fragmented, uneconomic and hard to live off. Determined, unrelenting and pervasive government land buying and land fragmentation policies took not just hundreds but thousands of hectares of land off these families. By denying these families the lands and resources to take ownership of their own destiny, these policies sought to deny Ngati Whatua or Kaipara the right to determine their own economic and social well-being. But, Mr. Speaker, those policies failed miserably. The people of Ngati Whatua or Kaipara are here in this House today seeking justice and taking ownership of their own destiny. Some are here in spirit, their journey etched on the words in this bill. An injustice that began in 1844 with the Crown takeover of vast tracts of land in the Upper Waitemata will soon be resolved by this Parliament and the people of Ngati Whatua or Kaipara. So in coming to this agreement to resolve past grievances, we honour all of the ancestors, but importantly, we honour our descendants, and we plan for the future. I stand to acknowledge Ngati Whatua o Kaipara, whose tenacity and leadership will soon see settlement for the hapu and marae of southern Kaipara. I commend the trustees of Ngati Whatua o Kaipara Claims Committee and the trustees of Ngā Maunga Whakahi o Kaipara Development Trust for their passion and for their commitment. They have shown incredible leadership by working alongside other iwi and hapu of Kaipara, Tāmaki Makaurau and Hauraki both. The support of Ngati Whatua o Kaipara people for the settlement negotiated on their behalf is clear. 2 ratification processes held in August 2010 and August 2011 returned approval rates of 96% and 92% respectively. Beautiful mandate. All those things the families of Haranui, Rewati, Kakanui, Araparera and Putahi have lost due to the actions of the Crown can never be totally restored. And yet today, Ngati Whatua o Kaipara seek to settle their grievances with the Crown. Mr. Speaker, the legislation before us is much more than a new law change. It is the history of a people, and it is the future of a people. It is what is taken from these families can never be totally replaced. 90% of the ancestral lands can never be replaced, and yet here they are to settle with the Crown. Mr. Speaker, I acknowledge the sacrifice, the pain and the injustice suffered by these people, those before them, and their whānau. I thank Ngati Whatua o Kaipara for their leadership, generosity and mana, without which we could not be here today. This bill provides for a strengthened relationship between the people of Ngati Whatua o Kaipara and the Crown, a strengthened relationship as partners in the Treaty of Waitangi. I am proud to stand in support of this bill. Whaia te kotahitanga o Ngati Whatua o Kaipara. Nā reira tēnā koutou katoa. E manaki nei e hau te wai tai mai au ki Tāmaki Makaurau. Whakai ane ka whakatū te tahi marae I Waipareira. Tautoko ana tātou I a tātou I roto o Tāmaki. Nā reira tēnā koutou, Mr. Speaker. I look forward to this bill proceeding to the committee stage without delay. Thank you.
The question is that the motion be agreed to.
Speaker.